probably call me Miss Natalie. I'm with Creative Action, and in this video I'm going to tell you about our Lost and Found project, and I will invite you to participate. So you've probably heard of a Lost and Found before. This is a project using the same idea in a different way. Not just objects we've lost and found, but this is about other things too. Losses of experiences, could be even people we've lost, and the things we've found could also include things we've found out, things we've learned, or things we've discovered. Sometimes thinking about our losses, or even thinking about what we found, if it was something that we didn't really want to find out, can be tough. So before we keep going, let's pause and just take one nice deep breath. You can close your eyes for this if you want, but of course you do not have to. Another thing you could do if you would like to is put a hand underneath your belly button, kind of like this, so that you can feel the breath going nice and low. Alright, so let's start by breathing out slowly, and then take a nice deep breath in, and out. Hopefully we feel centered, grounded, ready to reflect a little bit. So before I tell you more about the Creative Action version of this Lost and Found project, I want to tell you about a different Lost and Found project in Baltimore. It was a project that inspired ours and kind of helped us come up with this idea. So that project was made in Baltimore, Maryland, curated by Andrea Jones. The installation in Baltimore is similar in some ways to what we're doing, but not exactly the same. You'll see that the first part especially is different, and then the second part is more similar. In the Lost and Found project that inspired us, the curator invited artists to make outdoor art on a fence about what they had lost and what they had found since the pandemic began. The curator also invited people passing by the art installation to share their own thoughts about what they had lost and found. And this is the part that is more similar to what we're doing in your school community. People wrote about losses like the fun I had at school and fellowship. They also wrote about things they found, like my puppy, how to play with my brother, and a voice to advocate for myself. In Creative Action's Lost and Found, we've made an art installation at your school to remember and honor all different kinds of things your school community has lost and found over the past year or two. It will look something kind of like this, not exactly the same, but pretty similar. We're doing this project at schools and places in the community all around Central Texas this year, and we're asking all the members of your school community, so the students, staff, parents, neighbors, everybody, to write or draw things you've lost or things you found in the past year on tags and to tie them to the installation. You might be able to see there's a couple tied on this one already. The example project you just saw started shortly after the pandemic started, and it includes a lot of things about how the pandemic has changed our lives, but you and your family don't have to only share things related to the pandemic. Anything you've lost and found in the past year or two, or that you remember, or that happened lately, that works. Also, you and your family, of course, do not have to share things you've lost and things you've found. If you're having a hard time thinking of things you've found, for example, you could just write or draw about things you've lost, or if thinking about things you've lost just feels too sad and too hard right now, that's okay, you don't have to do it. I think sometimes it can be really nice to get those things out of our head and onto paper. Sometimes it can be nice to find a way to share them and see what other people are sharing so that we don't feel quite so alone with the hard stuff. But sometimes it's a bit much. So whatever feels right to you right now is totally fine. Also, another thing, as you're doing this activity with your family, you don't have to talk about it or share out loud. Sometimes that feels really helpful, sometimes it doesn't. Whatever works is totally fine. Some teachers at your child's school will be devoting some class time to this activity, and some won't. So we invite you and your family to contribute before or after after school or on a weekend, whether or not your child's class is spending time on this project in school. We have shared some white and brown tags with your school. If you or anyone in your family would like to share about something you've lost, please write or draw it on a brown tag. And if you'd like to share something you found, please write or draw it on a white tag. You might see the ones that we're sharing with your school should have the questions printed on them, so you can it'll help remind you which is for which. You can find the tags stored right by the installation that is at your school campus. There'll be a bin out there. Let's see, I can pick this one up and show you. Yeah, it'll look kind of like this. And it'll have some tags and some pencils or pens inside. Permanent markers actually work best for this project. They tend to last longer in the sun and the rain, but we didn't want to leave those outdoors unsupervised. If you have one at home and you want to bring one when you stop by and supervise your child's use of them, you can totally do that. At some schools, the installation is on a gate. Some schools, it's on a fence, kind of like this. You can check the letters that we sent to your school community to see where exactly the one at your school is. All right. Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for participating in this project. We are really looking forward to learning more about what people all over Central Texas have to say about what you've lost and what you found. We think this will be a really powerful, really important way to make some physical space in our community to acknowledge and honor all the many things that your families have lost and found. All right, thank you.